Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Today is May 12th. This is for Math 1, and we're going to be talking about writing exponential equations. Now, we did kind of start that last week, especially also yesterday, but we are today going to talk specifically when they give us the starting value, how can I write my equation, okay? So we started a little bit finding the multiplier last week. We're going to do that some more today to write the equation. So let's just remind ourselves really quick. Y equals a times b to the x is for all exponential equations. A is the y-intercept or the starting value or the zero term, and b is the multiplier. So let's look at an example, okay? So it says write the exponential equation that goes through the points 0, 3, and 1, 15. So a couple of things really quickly. When you see 0, something, that's a y-intercept. That's something you have to notice. So the y-intercept is 0, 3. That's because it's 0, something. That's always going to be a y-intercept, because if I graph it, I don't move right or left. I just go up 3. So that means that my a value is going to be 3, because that's where I would go up 3. Remember, a is the y-intercept. And then this is x, and this is y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute those values into my equation here, okay? So I'm going to plug in for y, the y value 15 equals, plug in a, the a value 3, times b, I don't know, that's what I'm trying to find, and then the x value, which is 1. Okay, and then I'm going to simplify. B to the first power is the same as just b, so I'll just bring that down. 15 equals 3b. And then to get rid of that, it's multiplication, so the opposite would be to divide by 3 to both sides. So I end up getting b equals 5. Okay, so my b value is 5, so I can write my final equation. Y equals, a was 3, remember, times b is 5 to the x power. There's my final equation. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, same thing. So we're going to write our exponential equation again, same thing. So again, notice 0, something, that means that that's the y-intercept. So my y-intercept is 0, 3.25. That means that my a value is 3.25, because I would go up 3.25. So that's my starting value. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and substitute in. Here's x, here's y, right? So into my equation, y equals a times b to the x. So y equals 2.275 equals a, which is 3.25, times b, which I don't know, to the x, which is 1. So again, b to the first power is just b. So I can write that as 2.275 equals 3.25b. And then since this is multiplication, I would divide both sides by 3.25 to get b by itself. Here, 3.25 divided by 3.25 is 1. So I have b by itself on that side. So b equals, and then I would do 2.275 divided by 3.25. And I get 0.7. It's my b value. So then I write the equation. Y equals, a was 3.25 times b, which is 0.7 to the x. Now, with the decimals here, it's a little bit weird to use the dot for the time symbol because there's so many dots. So if you want to, you could also write it as a parentheses, because that also means multiplication. It's exactly the same thing, just kind of a little bit less confusing with all the dots. There's my equation. Okay, let's look at finding it from a table. It's exactly the same thing, okay? So we're going to write our exponential equation again from this table, though, okay? So again, this time I'm still using my y equals a times b to the x, right? Okay, a I can see right here. This is my starting value, so that's my a, my 0 term. And then for b, since we have a table, it's kind of nice because I can actually see from 0 to 1 or 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, you can see the pattern without having to substitute, okay? So from 0 to 1 here, I can see 87 to 27, I'm dividing by 3. 27 to 9, I'm dividing by 3. 9 to 3, I'm dividing by 3. And 3 to 1, I'm dividing by 3. But remember, we don't write any of our multipliers as division because then it wouldn't be a multiplier. Remember, we write it as times 1 over 3. Remember, this line also means divide. Okay, so my B value is going to be 1/3. So now we're going to substitute in y equals, A value was the 81. And then with the fraction, you have to use the parentheses, and the x goes on the outside. The reason why we have to use the parentheses is so that we know the x goes with the whole fraction, not just with part of it. There's my final equation. So that one is a little nicer because I already have all of the points here. Let's look at one more with the graph, but it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, so here we have our graph. We just need to look at the points. So here I have 0, 4, and here I have the point 1, 8. I'm going to do the same thing, just like I did before. 0, 4 is the y-intercept, which means that your A value is 4, right? Just like before. And I have y equals A times B to the x. Here's my x, here's my y, so I substitute. So y is 8, A is 4, B I don't know, and x is 1. B to the first power is just B, so I get 8 equals 4b. And since that's multiplication, the opposite is to divide by 4 to both sides. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and I get b equals 2. And I write my equation, y equals A was 4 times b to the x. Or remember, you can use parentheses. It's exactly the same thing. They're the same. It's up to you. There's your final answer. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. Contact me through Remind, Google Classroom, email, whatever you need. Have a great day, guys.